what you heard, but play it with fire around here and you might get burned. We from the steel, where we keeping it real. Too many haters in the field, so we keeping the steel. It's the bird. I don't know what you heard, but play it with fire around here and you might get burned. We from the steel, where we keeping it real. Too many haters in the field, so we keeping the steel. We from the steel. Many stayed, many left, didn't find what they were seeking and came back penniless anyhow.
If I could describe hip-hop in one word.
Power.
Imagination.
Excitingness.
Expression.
Culture.
Freedom.
Powerful. Powerful. Real.
Influential.
Revolutionary.
Okay. Life.
You. Me. Us.
Freedom. African spirit.
I said attitude and power. You know what I mean?
Attitude.
Hip-hop.
Textures.
Powerful.
Innovative.
Freedom.
Confused.
Beats.
Attitude.
Culture.
I think it's been one of the most phenomenal kind of cultural developments in the country.
Voice and the representation of urban youth throughout America, and not even necessarily in the urban setting, because we see hip hop rearing its head in the suburbs or even in rural America.
Life. Because hip hop is not just something that you do when you're on a microphone or something that you do when you're graffitiing, or something that you do when you're listening to hip hop. Hip hop is like I said at the beginning, it's just a way of life. You know, it really is a way of life. It's like I said, from the way you talk to the way you dress, to where you hang out at, to the foods you eat, to the clothes you buy. I mean, it's everything. To how you even get your hair cut. So.
My definition of hip hop, I would say love, freedom, and expression.
It speaks to people who are trying to define a voice for themselves and who are trying to be represented in a way that they're in control of, and not so much the popular media.
It's composed of the four artistic expressions, that being graffiti, breakdancing, MCing, and DJing.
I was sort of born into it. It wasn't like I just didn't want to do it. It was like something I grew up with. You know, like you're a little kid, your mom gives you crayons. When I was a little kid, my cousin gave me spray paint cans.
I always liked to dance when I was younger. I never took dance lessons or anything like that, but whenever I was in high school and I would go to the dances, I always liked to dance. And after I saw breakdancing on TV, and I went to a couple clubs and saw kids breaking a little bit, I just got interested in it, went home, got a piece of cardboard and threw it in my bedroom and started breaking. And the more people I met, the more into it I got coming down to the city. So I wasn't really into art so much, graffiti. I thought graffiti was awesome.
Yeah, because it was already a culture going on, and then it was something I fit in with. It was the kids I fit in with, the lifestyle.
Everyone wants to rap. Everyone wanted to rap. Everyone wanted to be like in the spotlight. Everyone wanted to, just be that person that's just like in the forefront. I'm a DJ. That's what I do. That's what I love.
DJs now, they're not really DJing. If you go to Shadow Lounge, you hear the house DJs, they're actually blending the records and manipulating the sounds. You hear the hip hop DJs actually can scratch without headphones, and they're actually keeping the beat, they're actually doing it. So, of course, people like myself and older are gonna look at the music now and say, well, they're not even really doing what the music is.
I wanted to do something that was gonna perfect not only, my mental, but like my motor skills as well. And MCing, will do that to a certain extent, but DJing is an art form, it's a craft. It's like a trade. It's something you have to learn. It takes a long time to get it and master it.
We didn't have drums, so these are our drums. We didn't have horns, so we had to actually go through our mother's records late at night, sneak, and get the actual Earth, Wind, and Fire records and try to get a double of them and find a break in the song and continuously play that break back. And that's what the MC, those were our drums, and that's what the MC would express his vocals over.
I guess when I was young, I used to listen, to the radio, listen to it on the radio, and I didn't have like that straight love for it, like you would think. I think that it really came later when I was like, in my early teens, 12, 13, trying to rebel, wanting to do something different, wanting to be a part of something.
DJs are like we have our own kind of like fraternity or sorority because it's been pushed to the back burner now in the mainstream music. It forced us to become even more creative and closer together. So now there's separate things that are just for DJs now, just to keep it going. And now, as you see, all these records now, DJ is more popular than ever now. It just takes you to another state without using drugs or alcohol, or you know what I mean? So, right, it just takes you to another spiritual place.
How long I've been listening to hip hop? Basically, I would say about 10, 11 years, somewhere around there. I've been listening to hip hop basically all my life. I'm in a group from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no doubt, by the name of Hands Down, and it's myself and just the DJ. So we're dealing with, the original, like back in the day, the whole essence of hip hop, where you just had the MC rocking the crowd and you had the DJ behind them, like doing his thing. The hardest part is keeping it real, because based on the audience and based on your crowd, I mean, so many times that could be like an issue for the artist of, what should I say? What type of song should I make? What should I wear? How should I look? And it's, if you can't look within yourself and like find your identity and find yourself, then you're just going to be playing for the crowds, and you're not going to be a real person or a real artist. And
I'm the CEO and founder of Foundation Records. I'm also an artist on Foundation Records. The first release was my solo project, which was released last summer, which was pretty much underground, wasn't in stores or anything, it was strictly hand-to-hand sales. But this release right here is pretty big release for us. We're coming out being Pittsburgh's 2003 Hip Hop Artist of the Year, and a lot of people are awaiting this project to see, what type of quality project we're gonna come out with. It's definitely a dynamic project. It's incorporating all 5 artists that are on the label, 2 R&B vocalists, 3 MCs, it's 20 songs. Production is all in-house. We produced the whole album, and this is just a very solid project.
Well, I grew up around music all of my life. Just like it says in my biography, my stepdad is the bass player of the Real Silk Band, so music was around me all the time. The whole culture of hip hop is what inspires me. And I'm just a writer, man, and my mom's a poet and all of that, so just the passion of writing and just being able to see the response that I get, that's just what keeps me going. Plus, there's a lot of money involved right now, and I'm trying to make a little piece of that.
This band's been together 3.5 years. Individually, all of us, whether it's hip hop or we play other groups playing pop or rock or whatever, we all love what we do, and that's where the music comes from. There's a lot of people now, I think, that are coming on that they don't love it. They just want to get something for themselves. They don't love making music. So I don't think there's a lot of people out here, sometimes enough people that love the music that want to come out and support it.
We were in school together. We went to Penn State together. And this brother, Joe Black, he was the president of Black Caucus at Penn State. And so we linked up. I became his political action chair, and we used to go to this little cafe on campus called the Espressory. I was an MC there, and I had been with other groups before, you know what I'm saying? And he was a poet, spoken word artist, phenomenal. And we respected each other's talent. Ended up getting into the little Espressory. There was a live band there, you know what I mean? And we used to just go in there and do our thing. You know, I rhyme, you know what I mean? He do his spoken word. It was a beautiful jail, and people in the crowd that came to see it, you know, began to really come, you know what I mean, week after week after week. put it together, got with the band, you know, and formed a group called what was then 7th Ave, you know. Some serious things went down with us, you know, I mean, at Penn State, you know, even involving my brother Brian here, who was one of our mentors. We grew from that, left, came to Pittsburgh, and formed Liberation, you know, which was he and I, you know, a band we formed, but us at the core, and then our man Young Z, and the rest is history.
Waiting on the light in the sky before they get strong, it's time, so everybody pick out your afro. Let the whole world know God is in the natural. Ask your spirit and you for liberation, cause y'all we been waiting and freedom for the taking for the people.
People argue that fashion should be considered under hip hop as well.
To come up with a clothing line that represented something positive, so kids can still look cool, they can still look fly, but the message on the shirt is all positive. You know, you could be a part of a movement, but you don't have to have the same viewpoints that are negative when you're involved in that movement.
Clothing is called Jireh, God my provider, and that is an instant witnessing tool. Someone sees the name on a shirt or hat, they say, well, what does that mean? And that opens the door to explain about what God has done in their life, or ask the person that they're talking to, well, do you know God for yourself? And that's the ultimate goal of our clothing, is to witness.
Yeah, I mean, hip-hop is interrelated with our store. Our store was founded on hip-hop. You know, Brian Brick, a graffiti writer, myself, a DJ. You know, we have rappers coming through here all the time buying clothes.
It's just a lifelong dream to be in the music business. Not really in the music business, but behind the scenes, doing a little producing. But it's been about a year now.
Basically, I was a DJ. I started DJing. Somebody in the barbershop said, yo, you make fat tapes, so you should start DJing. So I went out and got some equipment and started DJing. And I loved the beats, but I couldn't stand the lyrics. So I got tired of buying this music and spending all my hard-earned money on this music that didn't make sense just because people wanted to hear it. So I started making my own. And at least I know what I play in my car, I'm alike. You don't like it, there's nothing I can do about that, but I know I'm gonna like it, so I always keep it real to myself, and that's basically how it started. How I began to get youth involved was a very simple process. I pulled up on them on the street corner. What are y'all doing? Because to me it looks like you wasting time standing here being a bullet or being a target for a bullet. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people running out here get sneaks and all these things. These people making money off of you, but what are you making? Not making anything. So come on, I got this to do. Y'all want to do this? Y'all think y'all MCs? Come on. The reason why is because look at my wall. They're dying.
Oh, well, I promote events, and the events are based around hip hop. People who are doing hip hop, which are usually, you know, people within the ages of 16. 17, 18, maybe 15, but you know, hip hop is sits in the lines of like 17 to 27. You know, so me promoting my events, me producing my music, me doing my music kind of caters to that crowd.
I am owner of Seventh Movement Development, which is an entertainment retail development firm. Pretty much we're known for the Shadow Lounge, which has been open since June of 2000, which is a coffee bar and performance lounge here in Pittsburgh, PA. Home to live music and all types of functions and artist development and just good old-fashioned hoedowns.
I opened in '94, so every now and then, once a year, I'll get something conscious, I'll get something local that's good, conscious, and East Coast. But most of it is fake Cash Money, fake No Limit.
In 2001, after the radio station that I worked at shut down, I wanted to provide a service to a lot of people who couldn't afford the big, huge studios that, you know, charge $60 an hour and $75 an hour. I wanted to have something that was for good people to produce good music, whatever you think of. But we do concentrate in hip hop, and that's what we try to strive here at Your Mom's House, is to have a nice, comfortable place for hip hoppers to record and feel safe and feel confident enough that they will walk out with a product that's presentable to the radio, CD, anything that they choose to have the audio for.
By trade, I'm a barber, hairstylist, and entrepreneur. owner of the Natural Choice Hair Salon.
For intellectual youth, you know what I'm saying, as far as the culture, is like the arts and entertainment thing, it was just clubs and you just go and dance and that was it. We're a young collective of artists, writers, actors, actresses, spoken word artists, visual artists like myself, and we just come together and just perform shows at different venues all over the city, do workshops with youth, fundraising, and that's basically it. T-shirts. We have a gallery. We're bringing out urban space downtown Pittsburgh.
Produce and direct underground hip hop video magazine. In 1992, me and a friend of mine, Les Bigelow, were watching TV and we noticed that there were a lot of videos on Video Jukebox, which was a paid video station that didn't appear on BET and MTV. So we were wondering if we reached out to record labels and asked them if they had any other videos that they had a hard time getting played, would they send them to us? And we had a couple guys who we looked up to who were already on cable, and through the inspiration from them and PCTV's courses, we ended up starting a program and reaching out to the labels and asking them to send us all the videos that they really couldn't get played, and it ended up being way more than we could have even expected.
Again, I work in the mainstream media. I work for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and to be honest with you, since I've been there, I'm probably one of the youngest people on the staff, and a lot of the stories that I worked on would not get into the paper otherwise.
Think that it's unfair, man, the way that they treat, man, the music, the culture. They only put in what they want everybody to hear. They only put in what they want everybody to see.
Put on the news, half the stuff's negative. Right. You know, the first news headlines is everything bad. So what's our use seeing? So, that ain't hip hop, that's just the world.
Pittsburgh is a good city for hip hop, but it's hard because of the fact that there's only one urban radio station here in Pittsburgh. So when big artists come into Pittsburgh and they go to Whammo and things of that nature, a lot of times they only showcase the artists that they want. And a lot of times it's like, if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, then they're not going to show you any love.
I defend both sides. Commercial radio is what it is. It's commercial radio. They don't have objectives in trying to help out, local cats or the hip hop community. Although the station that I do work for does support local hip hop. It's like a huge trade-off in a commercial business, and I don't think a lot of underground artists could benefit from being on commercial radio. When people approach me like, oh, well, let me get on Whammo, let me get on Whammo, I turn around and ask them back, are you sure you want to be on a station like Whammo or 96.1 KISS FM or WBZZ? I mean, what is that going to prove?
I think everyone promotes, TV promotes drugs, sex, and violence. You go to high school, they got to teach kids about drugs, sex, and violence. It's a reality. Hip hop, it is a big form of it because most rappers are from the street, and what's on the streets, drugs, sex, money. That's life.
Violence influences hip hop in the same way that hip hop influences violence, and it's kind of fruitless to get into a chicken or the egg type debate about what came first. You know what I mean? It's just a whole. It's the same argument as is it art imitating life or life imitating art?
It's not the music that influences the violence. It's those people who allow themselves to be violent. We all know that guns don't kill people. People kill people. So hip hop doesn't kill people. People kill people.
The thing is that music is created from the situation that is at hand. Does that make sense? Like meaning that if there's violence, now keep in mind when I said hip hop is like a culture, and it's going to reflect what's going on. So if there's gangs in LA, and then cats is doing hip hop, they're going to rap about gang activity. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, it isn't a thing where it's enhancing the gangs. Music is music. You feel what I'm saying? If you're stupid enough to listen to something, say, yeah, I'm gonna get pumped, and you's a damn fool.
The racial issues are obvious in terms of the history of America. The history of America has had a lot of racial conflict. Everyone who's come here, with the exception of Native Americans, have been immigrants. There's always been an interesting tension as a result of fighting over this land. And those things are reflected in the culture that emerges from America, hip hop being one of them.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's not like a, it's not like a cultured city where you got a lot of different cultures here. It's not like New York where you have Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, you got a lot of Asian. I mean, Pittsburgh's pretty, a white and black type city.
I just think in Pittsburgh it's more about, the ghetto, the urban city, the people in the ghetto, in which I am a part of. They're looking at artists with more creative things to say.
You can just look at the video, turn it on. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a man too, and I'm attracted to beautiful women, but there's a way you go about it, without, you should be able to put on a song and record and still have your child or your mother there, be able to listen to it without them going like this,
Do what you want, I believe in people, being individuals. I wear clothes every once in a while that enhances things, but what are you getting out of it? My whole thing is, what do some of these women in the videos think they're going to accomplish?
I don't think that hip hop as a culture and as a lifestyle is degrading to women, no. I think that women and men get involved in whatever aspect of the hip hop community that they choose to get involved in.
We wouldn't have had, a women's movement if there wasn't an issue about gender in American society. So all the things that we question about hip hop, we always have to talk about it in a larger context. Or we end up criticizing it and not focusing on what influenced hip hop.
Hip hop is already being used as a way to teach language use, to teach writing, to teach poetry, to teach issues of culture, to teach literature. So and there are a number of scholars who are working in the area of hip hop culture now.
How come black students aren't learning I guess at the same rates or frequencies or levels that white students are? It's because the information as it's handed to them is coming at them in a different language and a different vernacular aesthetic than what they're normally acquainted to.
This is the Creative Life Support recording and production class that we're doing with Peabody High School students.
Something that you really like, or it might inspire something that you could contribute that will end up being like the most awesome thing, or either that, worst comes to worst, they had a chance to express themselves and you'd say an hour later that you don't like it, but at least they have their chance to express themselves, just like you'll get everybody will get their chance.
What we're doing is we basically have 6 classes where we get together and collaborate on writing and creating and recording one hip-hop/R&B song, where every student is contributing something, whether it be lyrics or singing or rapping or production expertise. And I think everybody's really learning a lot through the program. At the end of the class, we're going to all perform it live at the Penn Avenue Arts Festival.
Pittsburgh does not recognize the talent that is here in the hip hop community, and oftentimes does not recognize the good, productive, imaginative work that these artists are doing.
I think Pittsburgh doesn't embrace hip hop that's here. Hip hop that has its home here, that's homegrown. I think that neighborhoods, certain neighborhoods definitely celebrate the artists that come out of those neighborhoods, but there hasn't been, an artist, in hip hop that has come from Pittsburgh, and I think it's because people don't support in the way it shows, venues, and I don't think there's been any artists here that have been able to tap the pulse of the people, really get into the minds of the people here in the city, and really do something that they can relate to. And Pittsburgh in so many ways, because I've lived other places, we're all from other places. Pittsburgh is a follower in so many ways. They follow trends of other places, you know, so Midwest, down South, West Coast, you know, the Northeast, East Coast, whatever, instead of having kind of its own culture. But I think that's gonna change here very soon.
If you don't have something, the mentality most of us have, you know, because you're trying to be successful and they don't have the energy or the drive to, they kind of frown on what you're doing. And instead of supporting it and wanting to get some information or some know-how for them to be successful, they rather, you know, not support you and just be real negative about things.
It is something that's not going to go away. You know, from the day it started to become popular, people, mainstream America, always thought that it was just going to be a passing fad, something that, you know, was going to come and go with the wind. But hip hop isn't going anywhere.
Yeah! Right now, jazz hip hop rules the world. Will it always? No! You know why? Because we're going to kill it. And we're going to end up right down here with a camcorder videotaping ourselves, scratching.
Seeing hip hop and the influence it had on me, I think that it can only grow.
I think Pittsburgh is definitely going to have probably like a 2 to 4 year period where, you know, they're artists and the market's going to be here and everybody's going to be looking like, oh, Pittsburgh, that's the hottest place. So it's definitely coming within the next couple of years.
Hip hop is free. It's probably a music that combines so many other different languages and different cultures and different musical genres to create one. And, you know, that's why when people argue and they say, well, hip hop won't last forever, hip hop will definitely last forever.
I feel like it's turning into more of a melting pot of music, whereas like you can tune into almost any style of radio station now and hear some hip hop, and you can tune to a hip hop station and hear, you know, loops from classical music in there, loops from folk music in there. And so I just think it's all getting a lot more integrated.
I see it as evolving into a whole array of different cultures, starting from the one center. So hip hop will have many faces, just like it has now, to just keep making many more faces, just keep dividing like a cell.
I think that hip hop is going to be around forever. Hopefully one day it'll get back to where it was and just the love of the music, just having fun, just being able to be free.
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
For me, as a fan and an entrepreneur, this is the scariest time for hip hop to me, because I think it's lost its way.
But ultimately, because it's become so embraced by the mainstream and kind of exploited, like a lot of other contributions by the poor, the youth are going to come up with another style. It's due to happen, you know, any moment, if not already.
So without further ado, this is Best of the Best. This next song is called Change. Tell me why.
Website 7thmovement.net, the number 7 thmovement.net. That's all.
And get the Groundwork Project, Foundation Records.
Word association, real quick.
Yeah.
What time? 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Underground Hip Hop Video Magazine.
On the air.
Mondays.
Nights.
What you said?
Girls.
Underground girls.
Yeah, look out for releases by Hands Down. You can check us out at handsdown.com, which should be up by the time anyone views this, and goodhandrecords.com. They're also releasing some of my music and my DJ's music, so definitely stay tuned.
I don't know, come to the natural choice. And
I'm gonna say he's the first person I did.
The urban space, 709 Penn Avenue, downtown in the Culture District.
Your mom's house.
you know,